Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. I am Ethan.
I'm Bryan.
And I am River.
And we are here to do the Uncharted 2022 movie review and synopsis podcast. This is our very first, what's this called? A movie based off of a video game series adaptation. Yeah, we're going to start off what do we think of it? As someone who's... I've played the first 3 games and the PlayStation Vita game, which I thought were great, except the Vita game.
Well, it's the Vita.
We don't have the Vita.
No, it was great for like the first 2 hours, and it kept going.
The game just went
It's like the bat.
And what about you? How many of the games have you played?
I've played the first 2, and I think I started the 3rd one. Basically, however much I played when we did Uncharted.
Okay.
Gotcha. And I haven't played any.
Yeah, we brought Bryan along so we could get an opinion of just, the general audience member, someone who isn't invested into the lore, I suppose, as me. Like me, for instance, when it comes to the MCU, I don't know anything about the comics books besides that they're dumb. I know
Bryan on the other
Bryan knows the entire lore of the MCU.
I know the lore, the behind the scenes.
Exactly the same.
Right,
where I know some of the lore. But not all of it.
Yeah.
Right, so how the turns have tabled.
Yes, they have.
Well. How the turntables...
But I honestly don't think Uncharted was ever that lore heavy.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
it's an adventure game.
Yeah, it's basically like the basic Mario plot. Guy goes to save the princess, and treasure hunter goes after the treasure.
Yeah.
That's basically how it is. I'm not looking for anything grandiose. Like, that was my mindset coming into the film. I know there have been a lot of thumbnails about this movie reviews coming from people who invested in the Uncharted series, the games. They're like, this is the worst movie ever. I don't care. I'm not.
It's better. I mean, it's on par with any decent film that's out there. As a video game adaptation, I would have to say going into this that this is probably one of the best so far that we've had. I mean, especially. I mean, to be fair, all we have to go off of with video game movies is the '90s Super Mario film,
the 2000s Doom movie.
Even the 90s Mortal Kombat. Yeah. And then the 2020 Sonic movie.
Yeah. And so when it comes to video game movies, there aren't that many. And as just a person going into this as a movie reviewer, I had a fun time.
Okay, now you say that, there are actually quite a lot of video game adaptations. There's Silent Hill, Resident Evil, there's Tomb Raider movies.
Silent Hill one? I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, there's
2 different Silent Hill movies. And there's 6 different Resident Evil movies. Well, 7 now in Raccoon City.
Yeah, I know of the Resident Evil ones, and none of them are actually good. But
I wouldn't be surprised if there's a Crash Bandicoot movie somewhere down the line.
Actually. I would love that.
I want to see how they would do a Crash Bandicoot movie.
Basically Sonic, but without the humans.
And Crash without the ability to talk.
Yeah.
Well, unless you're an Australian Crash Bandicoot commercial from the 90s.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Hey, plumber boy, mustache man, your worst nightmare has arrived.
Having watched a bunch of video game movies, here's basically how they go in a tier list. Down in the F tier, we got the Doom movie. We got pretty much every Resident Evil movie. We got the Super Mario Bros. Movie. I've talked about that one already, right? I think so. Yes. And then we got fucking basically just anything before Sonic.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
No, then in the B tier, we got Silent Hill, the first one, not the second one.
Not the second one?
Yeah, first Hitman movie. There is a Hitman movie.
Yes, there are 2.
Yeah, first one goes in the B tier, the second one goes in the F tier. Same thing with Silent Hill.
I've seen clips of the Hitman movie, and the funniest fucking thing ever was Agent 47 crashed through someone's apartment, and the kids just happened to be playing a Hitman game while it was happening.
Awesome. There's a Postal movie. I just remembered that. Postal 2, the game where you stick a gun up a cat's ass for a silencer.
What?
That game. There's a movie for that. Haven't seen it, but I just remembered that exists.
Okay.
And if you're curious, yes, the cat silencer thing happens in the movie. I know it's because I found this on YouTube.
There have been a lot, apparently, and not a lot of them have ever been quality.
No.
I think there's a good handful of good ones and a crowd of shit.
Yeah. But like what I was saying earlier, like some of the people too invested into Uncharted is like saying this is like the worst movie ever. I hate this movie. It's terrible, bad adaptation. What's have you? I don't go that far. I don't care. Like I've always described Uncharted generally as like it's a dumb action movie inspired from Indiana Jones. That's what I was expecting with this movie, and I got what I asked for. So I'm not complaining there. Yeah. I'm not surprised that the tomato meter is so low. I think it's like 40% right now. I'm not surprised about that, honestly. What I am surprised though is like the audience difference. Actually, it's like a 50-point difference. Yeah, which I was not expecting actually.
You know, now that you mention that, I'm curious what it's at right now.
It's just because this movie's a fun ride.
Yeah,
that's really it. Like
it's a pseudo Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It's like I was saying, it's better than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Anything's better than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Well, they're making a new one. That might be worse.
I forgot. You're right. Well,
Uncharted is sitting at 41% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones gonna walk in with a fucking walker, and he's gonna be like, "Let's go look for this shit."
He has
teenagers.
Broken bones.
Why did it always have to be teenagers?
He has broken bones on the set of that movie.
Oh my god!
He
fell over and broke his hip.
They should not be putting that old guy up.
No, but
old pothead actors. Why does it have to be old pothead actors?
But anyways,
Uncharted.
Yeah, that's basically how we're generally like.
Why
we're
is
not
it called
too
Uncharted? The land they're going to has already been charted by the adventurers that they're trying to find.
No, I always liked the funniest part about Uncharted dungeons is like you have to solve a whole bunch of puzzles, but then you exit the dungeon through a hole in the wall.
Right? Yeah. No, and that's what happens here. They fly the ships out through a hole in the ceiling. It's like no one just looked down.
I've always loved that about the Uncharted games. It's supposed to be dumb action.
So many puzzles to get in, and then once you get in, there's just a neon exit sign.
It's supposed to be a dumb action film, so that's why I'm not like offended at all. I don't think this film is very offensive at all.
Especially since they had to enter through an underground hole that was underwater.
Right. The thing that did catch my attention, though, which I kind of thought is like maybe rose a red flag, was Tom Holland as Nathan Drake.
Yeah, I was thinking that way too.
That was sort of a red flag to me. I think before we saw this is like they're going for a younger Nathan Drake, probably his first adventure.
And it's like, oh, Tom Holland, they're probably catching on the Spider-Man fame.
Probably, that's probably what it was, to be honest.
Which, on that note, I was disappointed by the lack of Spider-Man jokes in this movie. Like, I swear to God, I was like, someone has to make a Spider-Man.
At least
joke
make him swing on some rope, okay?
Either that or be like,
I know, right?
Either that or have Sully be like, who the fuck are you, Spider-Man? Or something like that.
That would have been funny, actually.
Or have the villain say that, or whatever her name was.
But whatever. Yeah, that did raise a red flag to me. So I just wanted to go into that movie. And also Mark Wahlberg as Sully. That also rose a red flag to me. I didn't know what to think of it initially. Seeing as like in the games, I think there's like a roughly 25 to 30 year difference between Drake and Sully. So it really didn't seem like that here in this movie.
Because I think in the first game, Nathan's roughly around 30, and Sully's roughly about late 50s, early 60s.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I don't know the exact numbers off the top of my head, but
roughly that age. Anyway, with Tom Holland, he gives a good Nathan Drake performance without making it a cheap impression of the character.
I eventually warmed up to it. I eventually got comfortable with him as a younger Nathan Drake. Like his very first adventure, he's not very good at any of the platforming. He's somewhat good at the puzzle solving because he, like, just like the games, he's a historian, kind of. Probably in the same vein as Indiana Jones, he's just not a professor. So there wasn't really a lot of gunplay from him. So for those that
but he did get his holsters.
He did get his holsters, which it did do like.
I did hear an interesting theory with that. That it's obvious they're setting up a sequel with the ending. It's obvious they're setting up a sequel.
I think that's what it was,
And Nathan, he's pretty gun heavy. He has no problem killing people in the games, right?
Yeah, no.
Nathan doesn't seem to like killing people so much in this movie. A theory, I mean, like, not completely against it or for it or anything. Just you get what I mean, right? Where he's not as like, ooh, kill people as he is in the games.
I think it was more so like, oh, this kind of line of work involves killing people, and when like there was a slight reaction to when he actually did kill his first person, and it's like, oh, shit, that happened.
Yeah. So a theory that I heard was that since they're setting up a sequel, as the movies go on, he's going to get more comfortable killing people, and the gunplay is going to get more heavy.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
If that's what they're going for, but yeah, just for this installment, I was kind of disappointed with he didn't do guns like at all.
Yeah,
because that was like there's three main gameplay elements when it comes to Uncharted. There's platforming, puzzle solving, and third-person shooting. We got a lot of puzzle solving. That was the one I was worried about the most, but they did it greatly here. The platforming, it's sort of there. Like, I like the chandelier thing, but that was pretty much it.
I also like
other than the climax of the film.
Yeah, the opener and then the 3/4 through the movie thing.
Yeah, but not a lot of gun gameplay.
The big set pieces are like the big platformer moments. The more like action scenes. That's when the platforming comes in. A good majority of the film is problem solving and puzzle solving and working through things, which they actually end up doing in a really engaging way. And like it never felt like it always felt like you were getting closer to something. It never felt like they were being slow with it or anything like that. You were right with them. You were solving it in real time with them. And it felt genuine with how they were solving it. It didn't feel like they were going too fast or too slow with it.
Yeah.
And then when it comes now, I do know that there is gunplay in the games, and to be honest, with it being a more inexperienced and first adventure, Nathan Drake, I honestly wasn't actually going into this expecting a bunch of gunplay. If anything, I was with what the film gave us. It felt like Nathan was actually more of the moral compass of the film.
Yeah.
I mean, especially compared to everyone else's greediness throughout the entire thing.
It doesn't really help. He's played by Tom Holland.
Yeah. So Tom Holland was Nathan Drake was really the moral compass of the film. Now, I do think that if they do end up doing a sequel with the end scene that this movie gave us, it does seem like they are going to play into a sequel that could have some gunfights.
Mustache Sully.
Again, that's what I thought. If that post-credit scene was supposed to be a sequel setup, I think it was supposed to be like the exact plot of the first game. That's what I thought, because there was a name drop of Gabriel Roman there, which is the main villain of the first one.
That's the main villain in the first game, right?
Yeah, first game. Yeah. There are actually a lot of like the plot of this one follows kind of the plot of all four of the
they
games.
Cherry-picked, really.
Yeah, they cherry-picked really, but I think they did it well, not to like a bad just for the sake of fan service kind of thing. No, I think they did pretty well, and also that I
also think they didn't want to go too crazy because it is the first film in what they hope to set up as a franchise. It does have its Uncharted ridiculousness from what I've heard.
Oh yeah.
It's
like it's inspired by Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones has always had something ridiculous in every single of the films. Like was it the face melting off the first one, the freaking heart in the minecart section.
Aliens
just like that.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so
a box full of spirits that fly around when you open it.
Right, so there's always a ridiculous element with Indiana Jones, and seeing Uncharted is inspired from that. There's always a ridiculous element in that. The first game had zombies. The second game had...
That was a terrifying part.
The second game had ice zombies, and the third game had fire zombies.
The Triforce of Zombies.
The Triforce of Zombies. I've never played the fourth game, so I don't know what that one has, but I know it has rope swinging.
It has PTSD zombie. PTSD. It's not PTSD. It's PTSD.
Yeah. So I was actually very satisfied with like this film also had something ridiculous in it, just for the sake of that.
I think it's time to get started.
Yes.
What else?
About the actual...
Oh, yeah.
Only took us 20 minutes.
Alright,
so we open on... It was the...
So we open...
on the climax of the film, basically.
One of two. We open on the first climax of the film, with Nathan Drake waking up after being
knocked out.
He wakes up with his foot stuck in the tie in the net ties of some cargo on a plane. Mm-hmm. He wakes up and he looks and then he makes his way towards the front.
And he says, "Oh crap!" right in the beginning because
that's one of like Nathan's
main lines.
Taglines. Yeah,
is like, "Oh crap!"
Yeah.
So yeah, this entire sequence is ripped straight from Uncharted 3. Actually, there's some differences here and there. Like in Uncharted 3, this plane sequence is over a desert. This one's over an ocean. Mm-hmm. So there's that. But it's ripped directly from the game.
He also doesn't get hit by a car, from what I'm told.
Yeah, he doesn't get hit by a car. The crates are aligned slightly differently in the game, but that's just a minor difference.
Yeah, and
it's kind of impossible to make
something that I didn't like about the cargo scene is that some of it was practical and some of it was CGI. Because they actually did set up cargo crates. In a line, and they actually had like Tom Holland and the other actors and actresses like connected to these cargos like 20, 30 feet above ground.
Wow.
And they actually had to like jump from crate to crate and stuff like that. Like this was an entire like choreographed segment that they did, and Tom Holland has said multiple times that this was one of the most physically demanding stunt films that he has done so far.
That's because he didn't have any web shooters this time.
He also didn't have his Peter Tingle to help him.
But yeah, and so then after he says, "Oh crap," we then cut to what was it, like 15 years earlier?
Yeah,
something like that.
Yes,
and we see Nathan when he's like 12 or something like that.
I don't know how young, but this was a plot moment from Uncharted 4, from what I know, because Uncharted 4 introduced Nathan Drake's brother, Sam Drake. I don't know anything about him in the game since I've never played Uncharted 4. It's on Steam though now, so I can. But
yeah, you never upgraded to PS4. I just remembered.
Nope, and I don't think I'll upgrade to PS5 either.
Well, it's kind of impossible because they're impossible to find anywhere.
I didn't know they existed. So yeah, he has a brother, and just like in the game, for what I know, is like he's the older brother, and he's kind of gave Nathan this kind of love for treasure and history and all that. And so
he's the reason why Nathan is as informed as he is, and why he pursued it throughout his life so far.
Yeah. Which he's also getting in trouble with because he was sent into like a Catholic school.
Yeah, no. Which is also, so it looks like their parents either abandoned them or died.
I think it was died.
It could be they died. I mean, is this a Disney-owned company?
Sony?
Yeah. Oh, it's Sony?
Yeah, it's Sony.
That's right, it is Sony because it's PlayStation. Yeah. That's why they couldn't make any Spider-Man jokes, because they would have had to pay Disney.
Doesn't Sony?
I mean, listen. The parents are going through a really rough divorce right now. It's very hard.
Now listen here, Tom. You're gonna go sit with Grandma for a while, okay? We're gonna sort this out.
You're gonna go stay with Uncle Mark Wahlberg for a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know if the game's ever said anything about his parents either, but he was sent to the Catholic school as well,
which sets up a fear of nuns in young Nathan.
Yeah.
He's scared of the nun.
Yes. So Sam is the reason why Nathan has his love for all things history related.
Yeah.
History.
Sets him up on the treasure hunting path, and then they get caught trying to aren't they trying to steal like the first map?
Made after Magellan expedition.
Yeah, Ferdinand de Magellan something. I don't know. It's something original to the games. Like the games always had something new, like a treasure thing to go through. Like in the first game it was El Dorado. The second game was Shangri-La. The third game was.
I almost said the Yakuza, but I think that's also the first game. No, that's not even fake. That's a real thing.
Yes.
I forgot the third
mafia
game. I think the third.
Oh no, this one's a real one.
Huh?
This. Oh wait, no.
Well, like no.
I fucking got lost. Ignore me.
Well, they're all real, like the expeditions that they base the plots off of in the games as well.
Yeah, so I said that. I'm like, wait, Eldorado's real too.
Yeah, Eldorado's real too. I forgot the third game. Yeah.
This says it was considered by many one of the most important events in history for its scientific, socio-economic, political, philosophic, and theological consequences. The Magellan expedition.
Yes, because this expedition was like the very first trip all around the world. Around the world.
It's like I don't remember the nickname they gave the crew, but it's like something 18, the Fierce 18, something like that.
Oh yeah, something about that. I don't remember either.
It's a team based thing that kind of is like the like true way to solve the majority of the puzzles in the film is that you need a team in order to do it. That's like the first MacGuffin that they have to overcome. But yeah,
that's a good way to describe this movie. It's a MacGuffin quest.
But so they get caught trying to steal the first map. Sam takes all the blame. And so because I believe at this point in time, Sam is like an adult.
He's like 17, 18.
He's close to adulthood to the point where like police can actually get involved with him.
And that's why that's
why he ran away.
Yeah, he abandoned Nate at a very young age
because he was gonna get arrested.
Right, and so they didn't sit too kindly with Nate all these years.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's what like his
leading him down a life of crime.
I mean,
this will come back into play later.
Always part of a scoundrel. And so we cut many years later where Nate is a bartender.
Yes, and
in New York City.
Fun fact about Tom Holland during this. So he actually did work with a bartender to learn all the tricks that he does in the film.
Oh, really?
And he also there was one day where they were like on a break or something, and he snuck into a bar to bartend for it. And then what happened is the owner of the bar at the time, or like the manager that was on duty, found out that Tom Holland snuck in to be a bartender and then just asked him to leave. which he did. But he was good enough to fool just average bar goers.
That's hilarious. So I also like
Tom Holland is a mischievous one.
So Nate was never a bartender in the games, but there was a bar sequence in the beginning of Uncharted 3. So up to this point, a lot of it's Uncharted 3, which I don't mind. I actually really like that one. That was my first Uncharted game, actually. There's the plane sequence, also the museum sequence, also beginning of Uncharted 3, and then the bar. He wasn't a bartender then, but there is a bar scene in Uncharted 3.
In this, he is the bartender, and this is also how he does his life of crime.
He pickpockets wealthy patrons.
Yes, he does. While also flirting with them.
Well, I'm like that. That's how he does it.
Exactly. It is a trick of the trade, and I believe for the most part. So I've watched clips of actual pickpocketers and like how they do it, and for the most part, it looked like the way that Nathan in this film, or at least the way that Tom did it in this film, was actually very authentic to how they actually do it. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually like hired a pickpocketer to like teach him.
Maybe.
Considering
I haven't heard anything about that. I just know the bartender part. That's all I know.
Although this would make the point about because this is also where Sully meets Nate and Sully meet for the very first time, and just like in the games, or like there's an origin sequence in Uncharted 3. Sully said then and here that is like your pickpocketing fashion is sloppy. It didn't look sloppy.
Right? It looked very clean.
It looked pretty clean there.
It looked pretty clean there, but apparently Sully saw it, I guess.
Maybe that's why he said it was sloppy, because like I noticed it, so you might want to get better at it so people don't notice it. Or something like that. I don't know.
Maybe.
No, Sully, you're just watching.
Yeah.
Stop being a stalker, dude.
Don't be a stalker, dude. It's rude to stare.
I mean, like, to pull something out of my ass, since we know that Sully is somehow involved with Sam. He's just looking he was searching down Nate, and he just needed some way to
engage a conversation
with him. So he just said, "Your tactics pretty sloppy there, kid."
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. I did it perfectly clean. We hired a pickpocketer and all. So yeah, Mark Wahlberg as Sully. So like I said, I eventually got comfortable with Tom Holland being a younger Nathan Drake. I couldn't with Mark Wahlberg Sully. I don't know about you, River, at all. Could you get down with him at all?
It's probably recency bias, but yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, I can get down with this. But at the same time, it's Mark Wahlberg. He basically just plays Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
Maybe so.
Maybe not.
He's
Not
like,
to say that Sully is basically Mark Wahlberg, but
Okay, so from what I heard,
I have a mustache though.
So from what I heard developmentally, this film has been in development hell for at least a decade.
Oh,
and
shit.
So,
Yeah.
And so Mark Wahlberg was actually supposed to be Nathan Drake. But then
damn.
he eventually grew out of the role when this eventually came into fruition, so they had to get someone younger.
Gotcha.
be a better Nate than Sully.
Yeah, I think so too. And I found this out after watching the movie, but during the movie I just felt like I cannot get down with Mark Wahlberg's Sully. I just can't. There are hints to like how he's portrayed a game, just hints, but overall I could not get behind it.
I'll probably start thinking that way whenever you watch the movie.
There's like in the flashback sequence of Uncharted 3, Sully was much younger then than he was how he always is, and you can somewhat get behind. Yeah, this is younger Sully. This is fine and all, but in here it's probably because we don't get an older Sully that I don't have anything to compare it to right now.
Yeah.
That it just does not. I don't even know how to describe it, man. It just didn't work for me. Because he doesn't look that old, even though they make a handful of old people jokes towards him. It just doesn't
It's
work.
Mark Wahlberg. He still looks like he's like 35.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. And they try to make... It's like, you're
It'd be
on
like-
Tinder, you old, dirty man. I'm not that old, you know?
Yeah.
It'd be like trying to call Paul Rudd old. He is old, but he don't look old.
Right.
Yeah, no, he doesn't look old.
He looks 25 still.
Yeah, I think that's... it's probably because of the old people jokes they make towards Sully in this one that it just doesn't work. The casting just doesn't work for those jokes.
Yeah.
So I couldn't get down behind him.
They should have cast Grandpa Joe. Oh, wait.
I heard of fan casting for this one. Make Mark Wahlberg Nathan Drake and make Tom Selleck Sully. That would have been.
That'd be perfect.
That would have been so cool.
That's perfect.
But Tom Selleck today looks depressingly old. So like there's like there's like Paul Rudd old, depressingly old.
Tom Selleck is old, depressingly old.
Yeah.
I looked up Mark Wahlberg because I wanted to see how old he actually is, and Kevin Hart came up. No, seriously, third picture, Kevin fucking Hart. Okay, but no. So Mark Wahlberg is 50 years old.
Exactly 50.
Exactly 50,
Okay.
but he turns 51 this year. But no, he looks like he's like 35.
Yeah. That's the thing. I just could not get down behind. I think it just works. Sully just works as an older character.
Yeah.
So there's that. What now?
I guess.
Like
onwards.
Sully tries to recruit Nate for his new treasure expedition, but Nate initially declines, and then he eventually warms up to Sully. That was another thing between Nate and Sully's dynamic here that I didn't get down behind in this film, is that Nate is constantly on and off with Sully throughout this entire thing. He's like, "No, Sully, I won't do it." Next scene, "Okay, I will do it."
Yeah.
This happens like 2 or 3 times. It's like, "All right, you got your gold now, so I'm out. I'm done. Sorry, what was on your schedule? You needed some help with that, buddy? Thank you."
Well, yes, but actually no.
Like, even during the climax, I'm like jumping ahead here, but like one scene before, like Nate was doing the how fidelity you are up there thing. One scene before he was doing it, he's saying, "Sully, you are the worst person ever." And now Nate is like, "I'm having so much fun. Sully, you're my best friend. Go take care of the freaking pirates."
Right.
It was just the dynamic between the two was on and off throughout this entire thing for me. I don't know if you felt that, Brian, since you don't have no affiliation with the games whatsoever. What was your opinion about that?
So as a comedic duo, it works, but when it comes, based on my understanding of the characters and based on the age difference that they have in the games, the way that my brain interprets that is that it's supposed to feel kind of like a mentor student figure, or at least or maybe even I feel like what they should have done for this film is because it doesn't work with Sully being a mentor. But if they made Sully more of a father figure, I think it could have worked. Because the story that they create for Nate's character in this is that he's missing a guide. Because he had Sam back when they were in the orphanage, but as soon as Sam left, he had no one to guide him, and so he spent his life trying to find his guide again. And so I think what they should have done is had Sully fill in that guidance position, and then they could have had their ups and downs with what that would have been, especially with the amount of lies that Sully tells him throughout the film, and that he then has to come clean about. It could show that even your guide, or the person that you look up to, isn't always the most trustworthy.
Yes.
And so I think they could have had a really good dynamic with that if they would have gone in that kind of direction. But because they don't, it kind of just leaves you hanging okay, should we just trust him? Should we not? Should we actually go through with this? Nate, why are you still listening to him? You're constantly going back and forth with how you should think of Sully, until the very end when he's like, yeah, no, I guess a guy's life is worth more than some gold.
Yeah, that's the thing about this Sully too, which I think they had an idea going for, but it just didn't work out completely. This Sully is very obsessed with gold. He's not like that in the games, but I can kind of see where that's going from. So I don't mind that change. Yeah. So when his big character arc moment was like, maybe not everything's about the gold, and just shoves it down onto the pirate's face during the climax sequence, I think that's a really good scene for what is content. And also another good scene, jumping ahead here. I actually did like Mark Wahlberg's acting here for when he finally found the gold on the pirate ship before it went off and did the Bowser thing. That's what I was saying during the movie. Hey, look, it's Bowser's airship.
Right. Where's all the holes that throw wrenches?
There's he had a very ecstatic look on his face, and it's like, we did it, kid. We found the gold. And Nate is like, great, good, you found your gold, piece of crap. I'm out of here. Don't do any gold. So I like that scene too, but it's just I don't know. I just couldn't get down behind it. So after
after the recruitment, the recruitment is basically,
hey, your brother helped me find this journal and steal it, and now he's missing. And then Nate's like, hey, he sent me a bunch of postcards, and he didn't send me anything though.
Right. Yeah.
And then that's when Sully's like, listen, I got this hit we can do. Basically, there's this auction going on, and we need the sword. Or the key, or whatever.
The cross.
The cross. We need this cross. So we're going to go in and steal it. And Nate's like, okay.
Well, first he was like, no. And then he said yes.
Yes.
Then he said no, and then he said yes again.
Well, no, but actually yes.
Yes.
And so he goes through 4 yeses and nos, and then he's like, okay, I'll do it. So he comes and does the mission with him, and this is where we meet some more essential characters in the film. We meet the main villain, And the other main villain.
Or Antonio Banderas.
Exactly.
That's all I refer to him as in this film.
The Moncada family, which is this... apparently it's this really rich family that has gone through generations of power, corruption of cities. Basically the Red Room if it was a family.
And the other main villain, Joe Baratic. I read her name as BoJack Horseman for a second. She's a leader of mercenaries hired by the other main villain.
Yeah,
Yes.
so basically how it works in the games, there's no like main antagonist in the games. It's just a different one in each game. So they kind of doing that here again as well.
Yep.
So it's always some like
Rich, stuck-up person.
it's always like it was like a rich stuck-up person. The first one, a literal like Putin figure in. I'm not joking. I'm not joking. A literal Putin figure in the second game, and then it was someone connected to Sully personally in the third game. A woman. I don't know what it was in the fourth game, but it's always been someone different in each game. So it's just good. This one's more reminiscent of the first game's villain. And even in the plot significance of the plot twist, it was handled poorly in the first game. The plot twist villain, whereas that was handled so poorly. It was like so. Also, like the main villain hires this kind of like Nathan Drake foil figure. You know what I mean by that?
No.
You know the foil dynamic of Hamlet and Laertes?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so the villains always have a foil character of Nathan Drake at their side to help do the puzzle solving while the big bad guy provides the army.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So every game has been like that, and so they did that here. And the plot twist villain was handled so poorly in the first game. They actually did it so much better here. Actually, yeah.
Yeah. No, they did.
Yeah, because the plot twist villain in the first game is Gabriel Roman, the rich guy, and then Navarro, the Nathan Drake foil. And then he turns out to be the final boss in the last two chapters. He kills off Gabriel and just freaking, I'm the main bad guy now. It was so bad in the first game.
Yeah.
But it was much better in here because it was like literally halfway through.
Yeah.
So that's good.
It gave us time to readjust.
It gave us time to readjust, right?
I think that's even why this film kind of has like two climaxes.
Two climaxes?
Yeah, well, I mean, one of them's more just like an action set piece. The other one is the true climax.
Okay.
But yeah, so we get introduced to the Moncada family and Braddock, who is this tough woman who don't take no shit from nobody. And we go to the auction. Nate and Sully both dress up nice. They go in. They look around. Nate, being the inexperienced man that he is, has no idea what the fuck he's doing amongst all these fancy people. He doesn't even know how the ear comm works. He talks into his. He's like, don't talk into your wrist. You look stupid.
Right.
But yeah, and so Sully tasks Nate with going, and the plan is that Nate will shut off the power just long enough for them to get the cross before it can be bid away. Because they want to get it before, obviously, Moncada can. So Nate finds his way into the electrical area of the area. He finds his way back there, and as soon as right before he's about to turn off the power, Scottish man shows
The
up.
Scottish.
Oh my god.
You're fucking American.
What?
Exactly.
I love accents. I love dialects from other areas. There was actually a guy that I knew at Amazon who was from Ireland. And he had a very
bathroom break.
he had a very heavy Irish accent, and it was very nice to listen to. But and so I've always loved that. And so I do love the Scottish accent, but I do understand the confusion that can come with it, with people who aren't used to it, not knowing what the hell someone is saying.
Right.
Especially in this scene. And so Nate's, the way that Tom Holland just delivered the line "what" is just it's so good to me for some reason. It's just what? Like the
really
comedic timing for that one line is so great. And this fight scene, this is the first big fight scene of the film. And in it, we learn Nate's big fighting tactic, which is he knows he's not big enough to actually fight them, so he tries to out-agility them in some way. Yeah. He uses his lean form and agility to overwhelm his opponents.
Can't do that in the game.
Only you could.
Uncharted 3 introduced like actual big mooks that you have to like do
a fight with
a quick time sequence thing that you have to do. It took that one's more focused on melee combat than any of the other ones. It's kind of odd like that.
Gotcha. And then this is like, okay, Nate, run. And so yeah, so Nate outmaneuvers the big Scottish
chandelier.
He's able to cause a giant distraction. Meanwhile, during this fight scene and everything, Sully is trying to get him to shut off the power because Sully doesn't have money to actually bid.
Yeah, because to stall for time, Sully actually has to go I'm bidding money that I don't actually own, but I have to stall for time.
And then eventually, right before Nate actually causes the distraction, he's like, I mean, screw it, we're this far in, we might as well go all the way. And so right before the bidding can end, that is when Nate's distraction comes into play, where he's cornered by the two big guys, and he has nowhere else to run except onto these dangling lights, which this was a really nice set piece.
I actually liked it.
And I wish I knew how they did it, because I have a feeling that just like the cargo, I have a feeling that a majority of this was actually practical. I have a feeling that they actually...
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me either.
I have a really big feeling that they actually did set up a chandelier for Tom to hang from.
Yeah, no safety net.
And so he's able to swing across them and cause this huge distraction long enough for Sully.
Man, it would have sucked if that never happened and Sully actually had to pay the $4 million.
Well, you see, here's the thing. I don't actually have $4 million, but I'm going to take this anyway.
Hey, Moncada, can I get a loan?
Can I get a small loan of $4 million?
And so Nate's distraction works.
Everybody in the building evacuates, where Sully just kind of nonchalantly grabs
the cross and makes his way out. Yeah. He gets caught up by Braddock, who holds a knife up to his throat. That's when some other people show up. Yeah,
security guards
show up, and he creates this. He pulls a lie out of his ass, and he's like, "Listen, the big man told me to go put this safely away while everything gets sorted out." And they're like, "Yeah, seems good to me." It's like, we don't need no identification to make sure you work here or anything. Exactly. We'll let you go free. Which, I mean, it's an adventure film. I can look past it.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah. It's, again, dumb action movie. Exactly. I'm not looking for anything in, very serious or...
What'd you think this was, the MCU?
Yeah, exactly, yeah, no.
But yeah, so Sully is able to walk free. Now, in this moment, this is where Nate has his first, is Sully just gonna leave me? What the fuck? Dude, I'm right here.
You're the worst person in the world. And then I'm gonna leave you.
And then Sully's like, I have the cross. Oh, well, we're back in business.
See, we're friends now. Everything I said before, ignore that.
I'm sorry. I just think the dynamic between the two is handled really poorly. When the constant yes and no back and forth with Nate and Sully is just... I could not get past that.
Again, they should have made him a guidance figure. It would have worked.
I get, Nate's motivation in this entire thing is his brother, trying to find the answer to if his brother is alive or not. So I guess that's what's motivating him to keep going back.
It's it's a thing. It's
a thing.
It's just a thing. They really just use that a lot. That's like his only motivation. Really, is just I'm just here to get my brother. That's all.
It works when like there comes a great scene, but for all the other scenes, it feels forced. Yeah. Really.
So they escape with the cross. And they head to... Where do they head to first?
Somewhere...
It's like
Barcelona. Now, hold on, before we get there. That's just when he opens up the trunk and sees a shitload of, like, was it postcards in there? Is it right before we go to Barcelona this happens?
You know, I honestly don't remember.
Or is this before they go to the auction? Either way, when he opens up the trunk, you can see a Naughty Dog sticker in there.
Oh, that was much earlier, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it was... Yeah, you can see a Naughty Dog
I think that was still in the flashback sequence.
It might have been.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, in the flashback sequence, you can see a Naughty Dog
sticker. Yeah, I saw the Naughty
Dog
Dog sticker there. I thought that was pretty fun.
Yeah. Anyway, back to where we were. The duo traveled to Barcelona.
And I do like the plane graphics that they use for the traveling. It really does feel it feels like an engaging loading screen. Really, like you're watching the loading screen from like
Barcelona, where they went in Far From Home.
No, that was Prague.
Okay, it was Prague.
But yeah, no. So they go to Barcelona. They gotta go see the Pope. So they arrive in Barcelona, and this is where we meet the final like big main character of this film, Claire, the other female,
Chloe.
Yeah, Chloe Fraser from Uncharted 2.
Yes,
who has the other cross.
Yes,
or another cross.
Yeah, like it's a dual cross thing for the entire puzzle. I don't know.
Again, this is the team MacGuffin that we mentioned earlier.
Right. Yeah, the team MacGuffin of the entire expedition. Yeah, Chloe Fraser in Uncharted 2. I feel like she was handled better in Uncharted 2 than here. Because they kind of do follow the same steps with her. Like, she is very untrustworthy. She might be working for the villain, ? But in Uncharted 2, it was clearly definite that she was working for the villain, but she also had that feeling that was like, oh, wait, the villain's a villain. I probably shouldn't associate myself with that. And so she kind of does the same thing here in this movie. It's just, I think the beats were a bit different. I'm not saying it was handled badly in here, but I just feel like the game had a better handle of it. Uncharted 3 just kind of did nothing with Chloe.
Yeah, and then this is also where we get another scene of Nate learning not to trust people.
Right.
Because Nate gets pickpocketed by Chloe, and we get a very nicely done chase sequence.
Yeah, this is like one of them action scenes that has like a camera, like a camera shot, how it just like switches like a second later to some other camera shot. Mm-hmm. This one's like a camera shot that stayed for about a minute or so. Yeah. And I really like it when movies do that. They don't have to rely on like
long shots.
Yeah, long shots. That's what it's called. Yes.
And so I mean, again, if there's one film that this movie does, if there's one thing that this movie does fantastically, it is definitely the set design. The set design in this film is fantastic. Everything is big. Everything is colorful. You can see the clear details they put onto everything. Mm-hmm. It is a very nicely done set wherever they are. Especially later on, like with like in the cave. Like the cave looks really nice. And so that was something that I was just awing at the entire film.
Yeah, and then it also like ties back into the games when like the first one came back in 2007. So I don't know if it was the first, but Uncharted was one of the first games to use motion capture acting for video games and all. Like, so every how modern video games have like, well, they're obviously motion capture acting, like slow walk sequences, crawling through tunnels like that just by holding up on the analog stick. Uncharted was the very first to do that. So it kind of revolutionized the gaming industry by doing what it did back so early in 2007
Yeah.
for PS3. So yeah, and the graphics even back then when we did our playthrough, that was off the original PS3. The graphics still look really gorgeous.
Yeah, they're
to
not.
this day.
They're not changed very much in the PS4 version.
Which that's cool. Yeah, so
I like when a remaster does that.
yeah, and
They
it was
just cleaned
also
up a little bit.
it was also like the graphics and even game design were trying to be more realistic and all. So realism kind of started with Uncharted and kind of branched into all these other games, which I think is another attribute for the set design of this movie.
Yeah.
You know? Also, Uncharted, because of the motion caption acting, I think is like the first video game to treat stairs like actual steps instead of like other video games like
Where you could like skip every other one and just like run down the
that's because like cause how they're constructed in games is like stairs is just a slope like that, just textured to be like that.
Yeah. First one that comes to mind is Ocarina of Time.
Oh yeah,
It's literally just a slant.
Yeah, you're
They're
right.
not even textured. It's literally just a picture of stairs thrown on there.
Oh really? Okay, that's fun. The thing I thought it was like Mario 3D World actually. The freaking there's like you can be hovering above like a textured step.
That's great.
Yeah, I love video game staircases, but yeah, Uncharted was the very first to treat every single step as an actual step.
That's nice. But yeah. So after the chase sequence, they make Chloe realize that she's gonna need them in order to solve this part of the puzzle.
Oh yeah, it's like the funny sequence of like, all right, I'm gonna get away. Where do I go?
Yeah, exactly. So in the journal that Sully already had, they learn that they're looking for a tree, but they don't know if it's just a regular tree, if it's supposed to mean something, like what it's supposed to be. And the clues that the book give them aren't the best when it comes to actually finding the place. But then they do eventually find it. It's a church. Nate has a moment of nuns. Why has it always got to be nuns?
Snakes. I hate snakes.
So Nate has this little moment there with nuns, and they find that it's it's a church and not an actual tree. And then they also learn that the church is holding a giant mass, so the earliest they can come in would be it was like after midnight or like the next day, something like that.
I think it was like very early morning, like 1 o'clock or so.
Yeah, that was like the earliest they could get in.
So this church is also.
We missed something.
I was about to get to the Moncada parts.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. Does it come up after?
Well, I know that Moncada has a moment with his father,
Yes.
where his father's like, "Listen, I'm giving away all our money," and Moncada's like, "Motherfucker, what the hell are you talking about?"
Yeah, like that scene was supposed to be like motivation for Antonio Banderas.
Yes.
To go after this treasure to begin with. Because his like father's company of whatever the fuck he's doing is failing. It's going bankrupt.
No, it's so
you can't do this to me.
So basically, what's going on is Moncada's the main Moncada, his father, is tired of the treasure hunting tradition that the family has. Because the family has been looking for this item for generations. The father is entirely fed up with it. And so he wants to give away all their money to charities and to help the world instead of tear it down more than they already have. That's what the father wants to do. Antonio Banderas is very much against this.
So he orders Joe to kill his dad.
Exactly. So he kills his own father by having someone else do the dirty work for him, just like Palpatine. But yeah, so Antonio Banderas does end up getting his goons to kill his own father. That way they can continue the treasure hunting. And then this is when I believe we cut back to the gang.
Yeah. So this church that we're in is also where Nate discovers that these are the postcards. Mm-hmm. There's like a postcard stand somewhere in the halls or whatever, and he figures out these are the same postcards that Sam has been sending me all these years, and so he figures that like Sam's got to be close or alive at least. And that's that.
Yeah. And then they also learned that in the notebook it says one of you will have to go to heaven, the other to hell. So clearly what this means is one of them is going to have to go above, the others are going to have to go below.
With the crosses.
Yes, with the crosses.
Yeah. You can't have both crosses in one place.
No.
You can't have them both in heaven or both in hell.
So what they decide is Nate goes with Chloe down the hell path while Sully stays up above in the heaven path. So
very convenient for him. You know?
Yeah. So
the freaking keyhole in heaven is in a Papa John's.
I love the reason why I love adventure movies like this or adventure games like this is because it takes place in a modern day setting. They're able to do modern day jokes about how places are going to expand, towns are going to expand. They're going to build over these like historical landmarks.
Yeah.
And so just to have the keyhole right behind this like unbreakable glass.
Of course it's unbreakable glass.
Somebody grabs a chair and it doesn't even budge. It's like, you're a Papa John's. Why do you have to put this much security in your glass windows?
And why is the glass window freaking like covering a wall?
Right.
You don't need that type of glass to cover a wall.
Just make it part of the goddamn wall. It's there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Chloe and Nate go down into the depths. Nate, I love this because of how obvious it was. One of the jokes that they do in this, so something that shows up right when they get to the hell segment is that if they turn the keys the wrong way, a trap gets set off, which they learned the hard way because the trap gets set off and almost kills them.
Sully fucking dies. Wait a minute.
But they learn that there are obviously going to be traps. So once Chloe and Nate get down into the hell catacombs. What I love is that because it's Nate's like first adventure, he sees on the wall there's an arrow clearly pointing to the left, and he's like, "Hey, this arrow's pointing this way. We should go." He goes and he almost gets fucking stabbed.
Arrows.
Yeah.
He's like, let's not go that way.
Exactly. And it's like, dude, that was very obviously a trick.
If it were the game, those are some optional treasures during those pathways. Come on.
And then when you go down there, it's just
oh.
They go down the other way, and they eventually end up in Nate and Chloe eventually end up in like this. So they eventually start getting chased by the Scottish dude and the other big guy.
Right, because
I was doing it with fucking people. You don't understand me anymore.
Yeah, because Sully got the Papa John's. These guys get some like underground nightclub.
It's like an underground rave.
Right.
It's some like underground party going on. And they're getting chased by the two big dudes. Sully's getting chased by the woman. And
Sully's afraid of women, no cap.
And so that's why he hired Nate. But Nate and Chloe, they try to blend in with the crowd, and then Nate's like, "Hey, I'm gonna do some bartending tricks real quick."
Right.
Because that won't draw any attention to us.
Freaking does the dragon flamethrower.
Right. Oh yeah, no. Which I do like how simplistic this fight was, but I did like the improvness that Nate had during this fight of like using the bottles to his advantage and stuff like that. I love how like one of the dudes tries to like hop the counter, he bops him on the head with a bottle, and the guy just like falls backwards. Like I love stuff like that. Dumb
action flick, yeah.
Yeah, no, the action in this, because it's a dumb action flick, the action in this flick is actually really good.
Yeah.
It's really well choreographed. Everything is you can see the action very well for like the most part. And so while he's doing this, Chloe is like finding the keyhole on the wall. She finds it, she opens it, and Nate and Chloe make their escape deeper into these tunnels. While Sully's like, "Hey guys, I found a fountain." And Sully's like, guys, hurry up, and they're like, dude, we're being attacked right now. Shut the fuck up. So they continue down these catacombs. I don't remember what other traps they find.
The drowning sequence.
Yeah.
That's right. They do find the drowning sequence.
They find a trap
which is
door.
right before the treasure that they're supposedly trying to find. So they enter this area where they have to turn a key. They turn the key, which then drains the fountain up above, and all the water is sent down into this area. This implies that the fountain was around while they were making these traps. Just putting that out there. The fountain, in order for the fountain to have a direct correlation to this trap, the fountain would have had to been there at the time of them making the trap.
I mean, we don't know exactly how like the people back in the 1500s designed all these dungeons. We just know that they left a hole in the wall for the exit.
I'm just imagining it used to be like a pool that like it used to just be like a pool that like people would just like come in, because I mean they used to do like, because I don't remember like what time they ended outdoor baths. But I know that there was a period of time where like baths were outside, and like they were like a public space. And then we created pools. And then we were like, you can't be naked in public. And we're like, damn it.
Well, damn, I wanted to go be naked.
I wanted to flash my
It starts filling with water, and Sully's like, guys, I don't know where this key is. I found a Papa John's, though. So he finds this Papa John's. He's able to get through it.
Papa John's is on Brian's wall because he was pointing at it.
Bam. Pointing at Robert Pattinson.
I'm like a large
like
cheese
the
pizza.
the tension in this scene here is that like Nate and Chloe are about to drown, and then Sully is also fighting. I forgot her name, but Joe.
I think that's her name.
Joe Backborsman.
Joe Backborsman.
They're fighting, so that's what leads to the tension. Sully's gonna make it because that's what requires the cell to not drown.
He eventually is able to break the window, though. He gets the keyhole, he turns it, the water goes away. They're able to open up the next area. They go into this like huge area, and then
it required both crosses to do that. So Sully dropped it down a sewer grate.
Well, that was to I believe that's to open the room to the treasure.
Yeah, we're here.
We're in that room. I was about to explain, but yeah, no. So Sully drops them the other cross. They're able to combine them to open up the final area where where they believe the treasure is supposed to be, but instead they find a whole bunch of jugs. Giant jugs.
Well, like the jugs are filled with gold, right? No.
No.
They cracked it, and it's filled with all the salt of all the people of Uncharted fans that hate this movie.
All the salty tears.
All the salty tears.
Yes, your salty tears are yummy to me.
But yeah, so
we found it. The Star Wars fan base.
Yep. But they do it.
We found the McDonald's fry stash.
Nate.
The ice cream machine's still broken.
Nate sees something in the salt, which he believes to be a clue. It is to where the treasure actually is. Chloe is then, hey, you should ask Sully about what actually happened to your brother, and then she knocks him the fuck out.
Yeah, this is like again reminiscing from the games where Chloe was a kind of bad guy. Mm-hmm. She's right here in this as well. So this is kind of the plot twist. I mean, it kind of happens for you, but for people who know we knew.
People who know the story are like,
yeah.
And then I'm just like, what?
Yeah. So this is where it happens, and we eventually find out she is actually working for Antonio Banderas.
Yes, she is working for the Moncada family.
Yeah.
Apparently, everyone.
The picture's going to be for this.
You know what's also funny about in the games when the big bosses find out that their Nathan Drake foil is absolute crap, and Nathan Drake is so much better. It's like, why didn't I hire Nate to do this? Right. What the fuck?
Yeah, no, because I mean, I guess you could say that Chloe was kind of the Nathan Drake foil in this film.
She and Joe kind of fill the same position, but I actually think the hiring of Chloe happened. Well, it obviously happened without Joe's knowledge.
Yeah.
But, like it's not revealed to us until like now.
But yeah, so we find out that Chloe is working for the Moncadas. and then she eventually learns like, oh, bad guy is bad. Oh, I should go be good guy with other men.
Right.
And so she eventually finds her moral way and switches sides again back to be with the good guys.
Yes. Just like an Uncharted 2.
Yes. We then go to a plane sequence. Where we see Chloe, Joe, and Moncada outside the plane. They're loading everything up. Moncada doesn't want the car to get scratched because apparently it's a very fancy car.
Yes.
Which it is. The doors open upwards, so you know it's fancy. They get on the plane, and then Nate and Sully sneak their way on.
This is after another one of those sequences where like Nate is like, no, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm coming back to do this.
Yeah, no, because after Nate wakes up down in the salt pit.
The
Star Wars fan base.
Sully's there.
It's like, you have a different opinion than me? We will settle this in the salt pit!
Sully then tells him the truth about what happened to Sam, how the Moncadas were there. The Moncadas shot him, and because of Sully's blind greed, he wasn't able to help Sam, because he was looking out for himself. What?
I mean,
what?
Big character moment for him. You know?
Yeah. And so then Nate's like, "Fuck it, I'll do it for Sam, I guess." And so he joins back up with Sully, but he doesn't like that he's still working with Sully. At this point now he's just kind of out for revenge against the Moncadas, really. But then they sneak their way onto the plane. The plane starts flying away. We get another one of those cool graphics, and then as we're over their next location, which is somewhere. As they're going to their next location, as they're still flying, we then see Braddock betray Moncada by slitting his throat in a very PG-13 way because blood doesn't go flying everywhere.
At least this film has blood, unlike the Batman.
So they...
my girlfriend and I pointed that out in the theater. Was like, yeah, that's not how that happens.
Yeah, no, that's not how the body works. So Braddock now takes over the operation and is like, listen, bitches, you're under my control now. We're getting this gold no matter what.
Again, I think this the plot twist villain is handled much better here than in Uncharted 1.
Yeah.
Very much so, because it happens in like literally middle of the film instead of Uncharted 1's last 2 chapters.
Yes. And this is where we get our first taste of how ridiculous this film is going to get, with the cargo scene with which this movie opened with. However, we now see the whole thing and the resolution of the fight and everything like that.
And it's told from a different perspective as well, because we can how it happened in the beginning. It was Nate jumping from crate to crate. That happens again here too, but
now you're seeing my stuff moves.
Like a distant shot this time. Yeah, and then it eventually goes back to the plane.
Like in the opening, like the crates fall, but you don't see why.
Right. Yeah.
And then here they show why the crates are falling now.
Right.
Same thing with the car.
It's like why the car goes falling again in the first place? Because like Nate wanted to know if Braddock.
Well, they had already opened the bay door, and then I think one of the straps or something came loose on one of the crates, and because all the crates are tied together.
Well, he put a parachute on.
That's right. They activated one of the parachutes on one of the
Nate was threatening to pull the string on the parachute. If Braddock didn't, it's like, did you kill Sam? Did you kill another Sam?
Yeah.
The parachute thing also happened in Uncharted 3, which is cool.
Yeah. So all these crates go flying out the back of the plane. They have this amazing, again, set design, amazing here. And with their mix of practical and CG, it blended beautifully. to the point where even I couldn't tell like what was and wasn't. I mean, obviously, you know that like the majority of the backgrounds are probably going to be CG, but like when it comes to the actual like
the actual plane,
them moving from like crate to crate, stuff like that, it's like, okay, this is actually really well done.
Tom, today you're getting run over by a car.
Huh? Wait, am I actually getting ran over, or like we CGI in this shit?
Actually getting run over.
Wait, I didn't sign up for it. Well, actually, you signed a contract.
The filmmakers of Force Awakens, when J.J. Abrams said everything's practical. Even the lasers, everything practical. The lightsabers, everything practical.
Gotta call up the hacksmith up in here.
Lens flares. Anyway.
Lens flares the movie.
So...
Directed by J.J. Abrams.
So they
eventually, like, Chloe has to be driving the car.
Yeah.
When that happens, because she's like sneaking away as well, because she
doesn't. Again, bad guy's bad.
That was another thing in the opening. It's like, who the fuck is this girl? When she comes up in the car in the opening, because Nate like lands on the car, and that's why he says, "Oh crap."
Yeah.
And then it cuts to the flashback in the opening.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
Now you know who the girl is.
Now we're here.
Yep, and they start to fall, and it's amazing that they didn't die.
Oh, what's funny about this? So you know that lone crate that was falling in the distance, and Nate had to go towards it. Mm-hmm. If you miss it in the game, you die.
and then I mean, it's a good thing. It's a good thing he did the quick time correctly.
Oh, it wasn't a quick time.
It wasn't.
No.
Was it like a thing where you had to like aim the analog stick?
Yeah, you have to aim yourself with the stick, and if you miss it, you die.
Oh,
I'm going to die.
I'm going to die. But yeah,
it's a compilation of failed QuickTime events. But yeah, so they complete the aiming of the analog sticks, the QuickTime events, everything that they need to survive. They complete all of those, and they land in the ocean on this lone crate. Chloe and Nate talk a little bit about the change of heart and everything like that. A little bit more, like just character talk.
Yeah, just more character
banter. And then Chloe's like, "Look, land," and they go.
And cue the Uncharted theme here at this moment, which I thought was great.
They end up on the beach side of what looks to be a like a summertime resort of sorts.
And here we get
okay. When this happened, so how I could tell as a non-Uncharted player. How I could tell this was a cameo is because of how long they stayed on the actor.
Like, Jasmine, that's my girlfriend, has never played any of the Uncharted games, but after that, she's like, okay, that was obviously a cameo.
Oh, yeah, no, after this happened, I leaned over to Ethan was sitting next to me, and I was like, was that the original actor of Nathan Drake? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, cool.
Yeah. When she said, I'm like, I know his face and his voice. I can't remember off the top of my head who the fuck this is. Then when I got home, I'm like, that's Nolan fucking North.
Yep, it's Nolan North.
And
the voice and motion capture of Nathan Drake in the video games, which is great.
Yeah, no, I love how it's like, what happened to you guys? Oh, we just fell out of a plane with a whole bunch of cargo crates. Oh, that happened to me once.
It did.
All right, we're gonna go find this treasure. Good luck.
Yeah. Over a desert. Yeah, which is great. And I also love how it plays the Uncharted main theme here while this cameo is happening, which is great.
Oh, I just thought about it.
Yeah.
What if it being like ripped straight from the third game? It is actually something like that. He's like, something like that happened to me once. So something like that actually did happen to him once because it's ripped from the third game.
Exactly.
But yeah, so they get separated from Sully, at least for a little bit. And Chloe and Nate share a hotel room together.
And they fuck. Oh wait, no, wait a minute.
This is a PG-13.
Oh,
well, they went down the path of hell, and they're not married, so you know.
But yeah, so they share.
I'm getting more juice.
They share a room for the night. And during this night, they try to do some puzzle solving as to where the treasure could be on this island, because they are on the right. They're in the right area. They just don't know where exactly it is.
Well, no, it's not that. I think they wanted to give up at this moment, but then Nate was looking over the postcards.
That's right.
Yes.
And he remembered the fire trick with invisible ink, I believe.
Also, I don't know if this is stretching it a bit, but there's also a moment in Uncharted 1 where Nathan wanted to quit, but then because his future wife Elena, not in this movie, but he didn't want her to get killed or anything like that, so he wanted to give up, which is handled much better there than in the movie of Nate wanting to give up. But that happens here again too.
Mm-hmm. But then they remember Nate remembers the fire trick that Sam used to do with him when it came to like writing with invisible ink, and they learn even more passages from the postcards that they're able to learn to then get more clues. Nate then stays up basically all night while Chloe sleeps. And finishes solving the puzzle, and he gets the solution. And then it looks like he just leaves the solution out on the table as kind of a trust exercise with Chloe to see if he can actually trust her. The next morning happens. Chloe wakes up, sees what she presumes to be the right answer to the puzzle that Nate stayed up all night solving. While Nate's sleeping, Chloe then leaves without him. Nate then wakes up, realizes that she took the bait, and realizes he can't trust her right now.
You idiot!
And then he reveals the true answer to the puzzle, which he hid in a bottle. In the meantime, Braddock doesn't know where they're going at all. They go to the completely wrong area as well, until they see Nate riding past on a boat. Which, where the hell did he get a boat? Dumb adventure flick.
Yeah.
So he gets on a speedboat. He rides past and
to the precise coordinates of the map.
And Braddock sees this and is like, follow him. He knows where the fuck he's going. Follow him. So then they all follow him. I don't remember exactly how Sully gets there, but Sully gets there.
He's just kind of there.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, I know it's supposed to be dumb action flick. I just don't think they handled Sully very well at all in this movie. So somehow Sully gets there as well. Nate is able to get into the cave. We look in the cave. Again, great set design. Beautiful looking cave. I can't wait to play this on the PS5.
Beautiful looking cave. They head on in, and that's where they see the two ships that were used to sail across the world with all the gold hidden away. Sully and Nate get there first. They start looking through all the gold. Nate actually finds a holster here. He puts it on, and then we get the Nathan Drake look.
That was during the actual Bowser's airship thing.
That was.
But no, this is like, I think one of the scene that stood out to me. How I was saying earlier, it's like Sully found the gold. It's great. He has this ecstatic look on his face and is like, "We did it, kid. We did it. We saved the world." And then like, I actually do like the interpretation of this young Nathan Drake here, because he is not. His motivation is not the gold at all. It's just finding his brother at all. And so I like. There's a theme here. I know. Yes. There's a theme here of like
greediness bad.
Greediness bad. Yeah.
Greedy bad, family good, priorities straight.
There's this freaking dumb movie that said greed was good and actually meant it. It was a bad movie.
Which movie?
Oh, it's a Michael Douglas film. I don't know, but bad movie. But yeah, I actually do like that character moment right there. Where Nate's like, I only came here for my brother, and it's supposed to be that interpretation of a younger Nathan Drake, and so he's not obsessed with treasure at all.
Again, moral compass of the film.
Exactly, which I really liked. Mm-hmm. And then he'll grow up to be older, and then
realize, hey, gold is actually pretty good.
Gold is pretty good, and then he settles down, has a wife, has a kid.
Yeah, which I mean, he kind of does in this film, especially like right at the end, where like after Sully is like I don't need gold. It's better to have friends. And then Nate's like, speaking of friends, I got you some gold.
Yeah, which I thought,
it was a good moment. I did like it. They both took a page out of each other's books.
Yeah.
because Nate will always be relationship heavy, with Gold coming second, and Sully will has learned to build relationships, but also has an eye set on Gold.
Yeah, this is also true for like Nate in the games, because like he's very human, the good and bad aspects of being human, and so like he does like Gold, he does like treachery, he has a very high kill count.
Yeah.
But he also
I think at the beginning of the film they were both the very like extremes of what their characters were, and then at the end of the film they both became kind of like a middle ground.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Of like both greed and selflessness.
Yeah.
They both kind of like reach the middle ground, which I really like, and I hope that kind of continues as the series goes on. If they decide to make this,
maybe you can't play the game.
There are games out there.
Really?
You own all of them.
I never knew that.
But yeah, so after Nate and Sully get to the ships, that's when Braddock arrives. Braddock then airlifts the ships out of there, aka Bowser's
airship. I could not let that go.
Exactly. Okay. When I saw this, I was thinking to myself, this is absolutely ridiculous, but also really fucking fun.
Exactly. Yeah. Again, there's always been a ridiculous plot segment.
Yeah, a ridiculous climax.
A ridiculous climax in the Uncharted games.
Which after seeing the movie, I remember like as we left the theater, I asked Ethan, was that airship battle in one of the games, and he went yes, and I was sold.
Oh no, I never said that.
Oh, you did?
No, I never said that.
Oh wait, no, it was someone else. It was one of my coworkers. I talked to one of my coworkers about the film, and he was like, "Yeah, no, there's an airship battle in one of the games," and I'm like, "There is?"
Probably in the fourth one. Maybe.
I think it might be the fourth.
Probably.
But yeah, no, he like mentioned there was an airship battle in one of the games, and I'm like, interesting.
Bowser's airship. Dun 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 dun.
Yeah, so they do this amazing airship battle, which again, it looks fucking great.
Yeah. From a distance, it looks hokey as shit, but that's part of the fun of it.
Exactly. It's, again, fun action. It's supposed to be ridiculous.
Yes.
It is meant to be over the top. At least they didn't have zombies. I feel like at least they didn't have zombies. I feel like for this more like grounded take on it and not going into full video game ridiculousness, I think this was like a good cap on how ridiculous it can be.
Maybe I should clarify, they weren't actual zombies. They were buff zombies.
They were buff zombies.
That's how
they were like dogs or something.
Kind of, yeah.
The airship battle ensues. Nate gets his holster.
Everyone clapped during that.
Nathan Drake moment.
I didn't like that moment, actually. Like, the holster thing is like...
My theater people clapped.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
That's funny. I actually had some people going, woo!
We didn't have a very engaged audience.
Yeah, no. But honestly, I didn't feel like the holster was like that big of a character costume set piece for him.
Right. I mean his
it's not even like a big thing. It's just like nice.
His outfit is a very simplistic. It's literally just like
blue jeans.
It's blue dirty jeans,
dirty white top, brown boots.
Yeah, like it is his Uncharted 1 costume that he's wearing.
Yeah, but it's still like a very simplistic costume to the point where like once you see it, you're like, I mean, I could do that at home.
Yeah.
It's different than seeing like the first time Iron Man suited up. You're like, holy shit, this is awesome because it's Iron Man suiting up. But then when you see Tom Holland just put on a holster, you're like, cool. It's like golf clap moment. Yeah. So the airship battle ensues. It's really fun to watch. They're able to manipulate the helicopters to get them to like move places and make them go haywire. They're able to do all this fun, crazy, hokey stuff. They jump from ship to ship.
The cannonball.
The cannonball to shoot the... wasn't it to shoot the other helicopter?
Shoot down the other helicopter, right.
And like, so I mean, it's just a really fun set piece, a really fun battle.
And then the climax of it all, like Sully's character moment. Man, not everything's about the gold band.
Exactly.
And then somewhere along here, like the very end of it was like, Braddock gets a fucking Bowser airship dropped onto her face while she's in the ocean.
Yep.
Ouch.
I love how they just destroy these priceless ships. Like they really do. And then like as one of them is sinking in the ocean, Nate's like, "What are we gonna do about the ship?" And Sully's like, "It's theirs now. They can keep it." And they then fly off into the sunset.
Yeah, like it just kind of ends right there. They sail off into the horizon, and then boom, Uncharted.
And then
at that point,
we do get an end credit scene.
Oh, that was it. Nah, that's literally how I felt at the end of the movie. Just that.
Well,
was
yeah,
it.
no,
I
so
mean,
after-
dumb action flick. It didn't bother me that much.
And so after
Didn't bother me, just like,
after they leave, so there's one last scene before the movie, because the end credit scene is the sequel bait. This is, we learn that Sam is alive. He's just in prison, and he has really long hair.
Yeah.
There you go.
There's also another scene which kind of sequel bait or either ties in with the first game. I don't know. That means they retcon the flashback sequence in Uncharted 3. Doesn't matter. I figured that would happen anyways.
Movie continuity is different from game.
Right, yeah. But so, like, we see Solid Snake from the Metal Gear series.
Snake. The treasure needs to be found. Wait, I'm Snake. I mean Commander.
Colonel, I'm trying to sneak around, but I'm dummy thick, and the clap of my ass cheeks keeps alerting the guards.
Snake, answer me! Snake! Snake!
There's rumored that, like, there's supposed to be a Metal Gear Solid movie either this year or next year starring Oscar Isaac. It's been in development hell for a while. But that's like Solid Snake.
But yeah, so they the we learn that Sam's alive. The end credit scene is or what, like the mid credit scene.
Yeah.
Is Nate and Sully going to discuss with this other he's the guy who like sells you the treasure hunting stuff that you need to do the treasure hunting, but not necessarily a treasure hunter. He's like the middleman.
The client.
Yeah. And so he says he mentions Nazis, and he's like, we got this old like Nazi map that I want you guys to like go look for. And they're like, sure. And then they get held at gunpoint, but then they pull out some guns, and then the movie ends.
Sully has a stash.
Sully has a stash. Hi, I'm Mark Wahlberg. I now have a mustache. I got a mustache. And so yeah, that concludes the movie of Uncharted.
The movie on Uncharted.
Now,
yeah.
because they are setting up Nazis, and I know from the first game because of the memes, they look for Nazis or something Nazi related in the first game, and there's a line that Nathan Drake says in that game of if I run into some Nazis, I'll let you know. If they make a sequel and it is about a Nazi map and they do not have that line in it, I'm done with the Uncharted series.
Worst movie.
Worst movie.
0 out of 10.
Worst video game adaptation ever.
I'll call you if I run into any Nazis.
Yeah, since we're on the note of the sequel, the director expressed interest in a sequel, citing the car chase from A Thief's End as a set piece he'd like to replicate.
Interesting.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
That's the fourth game. Alrighty then.
But noted any sequel was dependent on the financial success of the first film.
Yes.
Yeah. So we'll see if that happens. But
Yeah.
as a first movie or as like the only video game adaptation of Uncharted, it was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, overall, even for like fans or like the fans that don't really care, like us, or general movie audience goers. Yeah, it was pretty fun for all of it. I'm not surprised by its low score on Rotten Tomatoes because this. I guess we're sort of a niche audience for this. Yeah. So I'm not surprised by that, but
Let's be honest, when is Rotten Tomatoes ever actually reliable for a film score?
Yeah, I'm actually surprised by like the number difference between critics and audience. It's like a 50-point difference. So that has to say something, at least, right? Yeah.
Tells you critics don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Most of the time, no.
No, they really don't.
Most of the time, some of them know. Wrap up your final thoughts.
Yes. So, my final thought on this film is critics are wrong. If you want a fun adventure, like Indiana Jones style, you're gonna just have a blast. This is a film where you can really just like kind of like it's just a sit back and relax kind of film.
Right.
To shut off your brain and don't think too hard about
Yeah,
it.
Yeah.
just sit down, have some fun, and enjoy. That's really what this film is, and I love it for that. You know.
Yeah, and that's what I applied to the games as well, because I'm not looking for anything. I mean, it was spectacular when it first came out, but I'm not looking for anything too serious or anything like that. It's supposed to be a dumb action flick, and that's exactly what I asked for, and exactly what I got.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The thing that I still didn't like about it though was Mark Wahlberg's Sully and the dynamic between the two of Nate and Sully just being yes and no and yes and no. It just felt off and forced when Nate had to come back to his motivation for the story. But that's pretty much all I have bothered with it. As someone who has played the games, that's probably something that'll bother with me. Yeah. What about you, River?
It's actually one of the better video game movies.
It's one of the better video games, period.
This is a great video game. No, it's actually pretty good. I liked it. Mm-hmm. If anything, it's better than Crystal Skull. I'll give it that.
Anything's yeah. No, but like legitimately, I think it is better than Crystal Skull.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the film handles the puzzle solving quite well.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what I expected from it.
Yeah. So, with that said, it sounds like the end of the podcast.
It does sound like the end of the podcast, yeah.
As Nathan Drake says, oh crap!
Oh crap! crap! Next video game adaptation would be the Sonic movie.
The first one, right?
That won't be a movie commentary. There'll be more info about that later on, but we will do a review podcast of Sonic 2, which will be in April.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So yeah, with that said, thank you guys for watching. Have yourselves a fantastic night. Please subscribe.
And go to Uncharted Lands.
And take care.